Hello guys, welcome to another video with Castle, the Maizuma Games channel. Some time ago I found a very specific redstone behavior by accident, and recently I have been fooling around with it. So my intentions for today's video is to share this knowledge, to share what you can do with this kind of thing. So throughout the video I need you guys to really bear with me, be patient, because I'm trying to show you guys something different that can be possibly useful in very specific cases for advanced projects, guys. A lot of people know that components such as torches and comparators do not react to 1-tick pulses or 2GT, 2 game tick pulses. So yeah, it's too fast, they do not update, so they do not react. I also showed you guys in the past that we can use this trick where we're still getting a 1-tick pulse from the observers, but because they're out of sync, they merge into a single 2-tick pulse, so that now torches will respond to it. By the way, throughout the video I will be using mostly torches, but I also mean comparators. It's the same thing. Curiously enough, I found that if you change the order in this setup, such as this, see, now we have the two observers on the right side instead of the left side. The torch is not going to respond to this pulse, so this is really weird. But one thing I also found out is that the torch will respond if you do this, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because in my head I had the rule that torches and comparators just won't respond to 1-tick pulses. And this is another chance to emphasize something I have mentioned before, maybe in my videos or on Twitter, that when running experiments it's very important to run stupid tests. I know it sounds a little bit funny, but what I mean by that is try things that will obviously not work, because sometimes they do, and when they do, they kind of do something fantastic. So if you look at this little setup in here, you will see that it is redundant, because I'm powering this block twice using basically the same thing. So there's no delay between the node blocks in here, so I'm basically powering the same block twice, and look what happens. So now this torch is responding to 1-tick pulses, just like this guy in here. So I don't fully understand how this works, which is why I'm calling it double powering. So basically you power it through a observer, it doesn't work, but you power it twice, it's gonna work. So I don't know if this is new behavior, I don't know if this is known within the technical community, but I found it by accident, and yeah, I'm just calling it this. But of course you guys are free to open any discussion in the comments or on Discord in our little community. I ran a few tests to try and learn if this behavior was locational or directional, and apparently it isn't. So you can do it from basically any position. So see here from the top here, I'm just powering the same thing twice. And here's another example. So because my next idea after learning about this was, can I propagate the signal? So is this pulse something that can be propagated? And apparently it is the case. And in the end, the pulse that we're going to generate is indeed a 2 game tick pulse, because if I place a piston in here, it will spit out the block, as you guys can see. So basically from this torch we are having a negative, or negative pulse, where we're basically empowering the redstone torch for a signal tick, and this can be useful in a lot of cases. So basically the repeater I have created for this is like so. The redstone dust is going to update the observer at the top, and the node block is going to update the observer at the bottom, and then you can keep going with this signal. Now I'm gonna need your full attention for this specific example, because this is the turn point here. So same setup here, double powering the block with the torch, and as you can see, this signal is capable of going through repeaters as well as comparators. So you see the redstone dust flashing in there, and if I do it like this, so this guy is basically subtracting from the other comparator, and if I flick the lever now, everything responds. So I can propagate the signal, and once again, if I place a piston here, you will notice that this is indeed a 2 game tick pulse. But the moment I use a repeater in this chain, nothing is going to update anymore. So the repeater is going to respond to this guy normally, but the other comparator is not going to respond to it. If I place another repeater here, The signal will propagate through repeaters or through comparators, but you cannot mix them. This can also be considered an interesting filter if you're trying to build a ROM. You can see here that I have repeaters set on 1 tick and 2 ticks, and as I flick the lever, only the repeater set on 1 tick will respond to this pulse, which is kind of interesting. Now here's something extremely interesting that we can do. So if I place an observer right there, you will notice that the torch is still going to blink, of course, but this signal cannot turn off anymore. So see, level 15. No matter how many times I flick the lever, this never changes, so it doesn't alter the signal strength in here. So we don't get a signal on the other side, of course, so the repeater is not able to turn off because this torch is powering at the same time as this guy is powering this block. But if I break the repeater, look at the node block. So yeah, it works. You can see that the signal strength here, if I can even do this, it's not changing. So yeah, the node block's not responding now because there's a block on top of it, but if I place, let's use a lamp just for sake of clarity in here, we can read signals from a powered redstone line that will not be unpowered, and this is kind of amazing. So my next step was to question, can we do some sort of repeater that can propagate this behavior forward? And the answer is yes. So this is the design I came up with. So we do the double powering for these guys, but then without delay we use the node block to also power the block once again. And if you look at the redstone dust from this angle, I'll try my best to give you guys a good view. There's no change once again in signal strength levels, but if I place a observer in there, I can detect a signal even though the power level doesn't change, and I can even have a repeater here. So basically this also acts as a filter. So but basically through the same redstone line I can choose if I want to activate the repeater by turning the storage off. Let's try it by using a longer pulse. So yeah, I can control the repeater, or I can make the repeater ignore the signal because it's already powered, but send a signal through to the observer by using this technique now. After learning about the fact that I can make a repeater with it, my next question is, can we hook it up to rails and place minecarts on top? So if you look at the lamp now, you will see that as I flick the lever, the lamp blinks, but the rails stay the same. And actually this will not disturb any minecarts. See here, those two minecarts are going to be activated at the same time, and they're supposed to have the same speed. See here, so if I start sending signals now, if this would disturb the minecarts in any way, we would see a difference in speed in here, which we actually can't see any difference. But we can still transmit signals. It means that I can make a system where minecarts can run on top of powered rails, and I can send signals for destination auto routing and applications like this without ever disturbing the system, which is amazingly cool. Here's another very interesting example. So these powered rails are being powered by this block, the solid block, and this is the last powered rail that can be powered by that block. So I'm kind of using this repeater underground here to power this entire section in here. And once again, I can place a minecart here if I want, and I can send signals by flicking the lever in there. I guess you guys cannot see what's going on in here. So after the repeater, I can place this and use the lamp in there. And I even added a clock in here, so you guys can see that I can send signals all the time. The powered rails are never getting unpowered, but the lamp is blinking and this guy is blinking, so I can send signals. So this is, once again, really amazing. And this is my final example using minecart. So if I turn this on, this guy is going to go in this direction because we are powering this block using the storage. So the rail turns in this direction. But if I place a detector here, as I flick the lever here, you will see that the lamp once again will blink. But this rail is not going to turn. We are doing the thing where we empower the storage briefly. Yeah. But this rail is not going to turn. Even if I slow down the game using carpet mod, you won't ever see this rail turning. But it tries to turn, I guess, so we can detect the block change using the observer. Let's take a step back for a second so I can talk about this behavior again, because I started the video telling you guys how comparators will not respond to 2 GT or 1 tick pulses, and this is true here, but this is not always true. So here is a T flip-flop that I created some time ago, and basically you can interact with the node block and then invert the state of the lamp, as you guys can see here. So this T flip-flop is really nice because it's very compact, doesn't use any pistons, and it's fast response. See, I can even spam it, and if I power this guy, let me show you this. If I need it to work as a clock, I can just flick this lever and it's going to behave as a clock. I can change the values with this repeater in here to make it into a clock. I can disable this or reset this T flip-flop. So yeah, it's very, very powerful. And the way it works is I have an observer down here, and it's basically going to change the signal strength from level 15 into from level 14 into 15, and then the subtraction goes to 0, and this is how this guy works. And this guy is going to be unpowered for 1 tick basically. So the difference here, the only difference that I know of, and I'm telling you guys, I have no idea how everything works here, is that instead of having my observer here, it's underneath the comparator itself. So I believe it's causing it to update. This is my theory. I don't know how things work under the hood, but this is pretty cool. And here is a variation that I found out later, that actually you don't even need to do the entire thing, because the 1 tick pulse, because the repeaters get updated. I think it has to do with update order, but basically this is a very compact and fast T flip-flop that you can use. Once again, the observer is underneath, and it also has the property of letting us turn it on or off, so we can reset this repeater, which is also very useful, and basically allow pulses to pass. So this has many applications as long as you get creative with it. Just as a bonus, I would like to also show you guys this solid state monostable that is capable of outputting a 1 tick pulse. So yeah, if I place a piston here, this torch will turn on for a single tick and make the piston spit out the block. So this is very interesting. I came up with this T flip-flop 3 years ago, I believe, but I never showed it on video. And the trick to make this work is the pulse length from the button, which is 10 redstone ticks, and having 3 items inside the pair of hoppers in here. Of course, those items have to be for perfection, and then this guy also will create the negative, or the pulse that turns off a redstone line for a single redstone tick, which is quite interesting and compact and pileable. I got only 2 more examples to show you guys. So what we have in front of us here is a binary decoder. So basically we can input any binary number up to 4 bits in here, and only one of these lines are going to answer to this code. So if it's all zeros, this first line here is going to respond, so we'll see that the rail will quickly flash off. And for instance 7, which is that blue thing back there, oops, that blue thing back there is going to also flash if I select another line. So see here, so it's a quick pulse. And this is about the method I am using in here. So basically I'm going to use a 2 tick pulse here to empower this entire thing for, well, 2 ticks. But because of all those repeaters in here, and this guy is not synchronized, it's desynced by 1 tick actually, then all the rails are going to be empowered for just 1 tick because of this setup. But then we have this thing where we empower everything, but we power it at the same time using the observers, which are carefully placed in order to make the decoder work as the binary thing that I want. This is how the system works. So basically we are empowering all the rails, but powering some of them all the time, so that we're able to empower only the one we want at the exact time. And this is really cool, except we are not really able to read this signal easily, at least not in a way that I would know how to. So yeah, so once again, if I flick this lever, it's going to be 1 in binary, and it represents this line. So see, this line and only this rail line is going to blink. But if I place observers in here, and pistons. I could place observers all around, but let's just stick to that. So you will see how a lot of lines actually update. They don't flash, they don't blink or anything like this, but yeah, they also activate. So this is really crazy, and this is why we are not able to read this decoder using observers. If you guys are able to come up with something that can read this, it would be nice. Actually, me and Lucas, we found a way to read this, but it's not really viable. It's a lot more complex and laggy than I would like it to be, especially considering that the point here is to use a different method and be a little bit faster than other decoders. I also connected the double powering thing here, so you guys can see how this reacts. So basically everything pulses, turns off for a single tick, and nothing responds, which means that I can use my decoder to send signals through without affecting the response it gives. And finally, here is another decoder where I am actually using the techniques I showed you guys. So basically I am using the double powering here, and I have this set up here where I have torches and observers. This wasn't possible before, I believe, because yes, the observers will power a redstone line for a single redstone tick, but we weren't able to unpower the redstone torches reliably for a single tick. So this basically allows us to do that, and this is exactly what I'm using here. So if it's not the selected line, it's going to be somehow powered during the activation of this thing, and here I am using this once again to power or basically unpower these torches in there. So 0, 0, 0 is going to decode to this guy. Once again, this is going to be 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's that one. Let's try this. Yeah, so yeah, this is one application, and the reason why I'm able to read this is because I'm using redstone dust here instead of rails, and I can use, so all of them are going to update. Actually, if I place like observers here, you guys can see same thing that happened back there. But the repeaters are used as a filter in this case, so if you look at what's happening at the bottom here, only one of the repeaters are going to actually turn off. Although we are sending pulses to all of those lines, they're just not turning off as we look at it. There is a chance all of these behaviors I just showed you guys is just a bunch of a bug in the game. So yeah, maybe they will fix it, maybe they will remove it from the game, maybe they won't. We never know what can happen. But I thought it was important to share it because maybe it's going to be useful for someone in some of your projects in the near future, guys. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Hope this video was not too boring for you guys to watch. If you liked it, leave a like. Click the like button, man. Come on. And thank you very much for watching, guys. See you next time. Goodbye.